Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. This little guy today, it's an explosion fold journaling card. Now I've gone back to my card making days. Let's face it, most of us have come from some sort of background. All us journal makers out there, we've all started usually with card making, scrapbooking, planners, we've been artists, we've all done something, majority of us anyway. And years ago, let's face it, I started card making back early 90s, so quite a while ago. And through the years, there's been things that have come and gone, and one of them was explosion cards. So I played with that again the other day, but I wanted to rehash it so that I could put it in my journals. So I've done a 3 explosion into a journal card. So here's my little journal card, nice and thin. We'll tuck into my journal. This is a 3 by 3 inch square, but when it opens, I've got all that journaling space and all that journaling space. There's lots, and it all just folds back up. It is so easy and simple to do. Okay, so this one, as I said, is a 3 inch by 3 inch, which means we need to start with a square that is 6 inches by 6 inches. They end up with what our square would be, half and half. So if you start with an 8 inch square, you'll get a 4 inch journaling card, etc. and so on. So you can do them as small as you like, as large as you like. Probably wouldn't suggest you start with a 1 inch square. Don't know what your hands are like. There's no way knowing mine would do it. So what we need for this are 3 6 by 6 inch squares. Now this is just coffee dyed paper. I find they're great for journaling on. They give me a little bit of colour, a little bit of texture. It's nice and it's crunchy, and they're so easy to do. So I've always got a stack of them in front of me. So when I coffee dye my paper, I always end up with a darker side and a lighter side. So when I've done this one, what I've done is used my 2 darker sides, front and back, and then my lighter side in the middle. It is up to you. So you can see this one was a little bit lighter both sides. So it's up to you which way you want to go, but very, very simple. Very simple, okay? So it is literally just folds. So all we're going to do first is, I'm starting my right side up, folding it in half. Give it a good crease. We want nice crisp creases through it. Turning it over, folding it in half again. Now, I'm hoping I'm in half. I don't want my head shoved under the camera, so... Okay, so we've got our general fold there. We're going to turn it over, and we're going to go quarters so that we make a triangle. That's it. Okay, so if you push on the centerpiece, you've got this little flower type shape. Grab these corners, a lot like our Christmas trees we did and our stars that we did the other month, and just bring those ones up to there. Okay, so it's sitting like this. Grab these and bring them to the top. That'll fold down so that you've got your full square again. Repeat with your last one. So fold it over, give it a crease, fold it over, try and line it up, give it a crease, okay, turning it, leaving it right side up. Think about it, Kylie. No, turning it over, sorry. And giving it a crease that way. Okay, so that when you put, you know that it's right when you push down. If you push down and it sits like that, you're right. Bringing these ones up. So they're your first one and your last one out of the 3. Your middle one, whichever way you want it, it's going to start exactly the same. So fold it in half. So we've got that way, fold it in half, that way. Okay, so that what we've got is that. I'm the wrong way around, didn't I? That way and that way. No, that's right. Nothing wrong with me. Right, so instead of it giving us our crease up here this time, we want to fold it in on itself. It's just a matter of practice. And every now and again, I'll have one of those brain fades, like we all do. So that this time, if I do that, there's nothing there. What I want with this one is to turn it the other way. So if I bring it that way, and what that'll mean is that my lighter coloured one is on the other way. Because when we open it, we want these two to point up, the middle one to point down. So we've had to fold it the opposite way. That's why we've done it that way. So first one is folding up. Last one is folding up. Middle one is folding down. That way. It's folding down, okay? Like so. Right. To glue them together. That's all they are. So we've got our one's going down, going up. I'm going to turn that way. I want him down, down, up, down. That one's going to go on there. That one's going to go on there. Okay. So we're going to match that one to that one and that one to that one so that we've got a point, so a hill, a valley and a hill. That's it. So to glue these guys together, I tend to use just my glue stick. I want this one on top of this one. So this is, if I make a little cross on that there and a little cross on that one there, that's what I want to glue these onto. Make sense? So, glue stick. Glue stick can be messy, but I find it's easier when I'm doing all these, and quite often my wet glue will bubble it just a little bit. So, my glue stick, I've popped a little bit of scrap paper here so that I don't go past that fold. Go all the way down there, make sure I get all the way to the corners, and then I'm going to lift my scrap piece of paper up just so that I can do that side. Okay, take that away, and this one's going to go on here. I'm a righty, I've just got to turn it all round. Just believe me when I say that this is what you need to do. Matching our folds to our folds. Wipe off if you've got glue stick that has come out. That's why I like my blue glue, because I can see exactly where I've gone over. Give it a good push down. Okay, so that's this one so far. Like that. Like that. So we're getting there. And now we want to glue this one to attach that to that. So exactly the same scenario. I'll put my scrap piece, when I can find it, underneath there. I'm going to sit this one on here. Get my glue stick again. Wind him out. Going all the way down. Close as I can to there. Swing that round. Line up the folds. Now, if you want to ink your folds so that they stand out, do that prior to gluing all these guys together. I've I've inked my original one, but for time-wise, I haven't inked this one. So matching up your fold to your edge, like so. Checking you've got no glue on it. Down there and there. Just make sure it's nicely adhered. Right, that's your explosion. These ones are going to come in. These ones are going to come in. Once you've folded it for a little bit, it'll then start to fold so much easier. Okay? And it'll just automatically do it for you. So give all those a good crease. And what we've got, look at that. And see how it just folds back in on itself? So easy. Now, to make this, at the moment, yes, it's awesome. It's an explosion card or an explosion fold, but we want to jazz it up a little bit for our journals. So what we're going to do, now I've just taken a little bit of chipboard. It is literally, I don't know, a mil. It's not very thick. I didn't want too thick so that it wasn't too thick in my journals. You could take some cereal box. I would probably glue 2 pieces together just to give it a little bit more sturdiness. They're going to go on there. Before we do that though, I'll set this guy aside, I decorate them. I'll have them all covered, and what I want to do is cover them in serviettes. Again, to keep that thinness really far down. What the serviette we're going to use this time, so that was this one, which was, here it is, which was that serviette. So I've just picked an area out of there that I liked. Okay, the serviette we're using this time is this one. What I want to do with this first is actually put some stamping on my chipboard. You'll see with this one, I've done it with this one so you can just slightly see this background flourish behind the serviette. It was just something that I wanted to do just to give it a little bit more oomph. It's up to you whether you do that or not. So, but I'm going to stamp it in black. So I've got a piece of scrap here that I had in my hot little hand a few seconds ago. There it is. To sit under here when I stamp it. Now, the other thing I want to do is I'm going to stamp it in black. Excuse me a moment. So I'm just using a VersaFine Clear in Nocturne, nighttime, dark, you know, that sort of thing. And I also, excuse my seat for squeaking, there it goes. I need to stand up when I'm doing this. It is an old wooden stamp, and as it's large, it needs a good amount of pressure. So for that pressure, to give me an even pressure on the chipboard, I just want to stand up to do it. So middle finger and thumb, pointer fingers on the top, sitting it with my wrist on the ground on the table, down, hold one hand on it and give it a good amount of pressure. Keep this hand on it now and give this side a good amount of pressure. Lift it up and you've got your image sitting there. So we're going to do that with both sides. Re-ink your stamp as we want that dark flourish behind it. We don't want it too light. If we just wanted a shadow effect, we wouldn't need to re-ink our stamp. So, straight back again. My wrists are on the table. It's just the same movement each time. Giving this one a good press down. The bigger the stamp, the more you need to press. Lifting it up, and we've got a perfect image again. I'll sit down again now. Oh, move my chair in. Now this is an old stamp from 2004. Katarina. 2470H. H for Harry. So I don't know whether you'd find it. You would find other flourishes. Things like this are a good thing to have just to do backgrounds and a little bit behind and all the rest. Right, I move that and I move that. Set those back in the drawer. So now I've got my front and my back. These ones I've pre-cut, as I said before. Maybe I didn't. Just from my chipboard. So my little squares are 3 inches by 3 inches. What I've done is I've cut these 3 1/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches, which gives me about 1/8 of an inch all the way around my edge. So if I go a little bit wonky when I'm putting it on, it helps the effect because, well, you know, it stops it looking really dodgy. Because if I'd cut this exactly the same size as my paper, there is a fair chance some of it may come out. So I always go just a little bit over. You don't need much more than about 1/8 of an inch, a couple of mil if you're going in centimetres, around your edges. So all the way around. Right, we're going to adhere our serviettes to these now. Because I've stamped this in this one, it is dry straight away. If I'd used a pigment ink, I would have needed to wait for it to dry before I do anything. And because I'm just adhering my serviettes with my glue stick again, I want a permanent based quick drying ink so that I don't smear that design. So to do something like this, to then put a wet glue on the top, you're looking at an archival, a StazOn, the VersaFine Clear, something that is a permanent ink. Right, so I need, just fold that over to get rid of that. I want that. I want my serviette, which now these serviettes are a 3-ply. I've already taken my other 2-ply off, so I'm down to 1 ply. And what I'm hoping to do, let's see where that is. That's that one. I want to adhere that to my serviette round about there, so that I've got a little bit of leaf. I've got my rose over here. And I'm just thinking I might want to move that up into the top corner so I can see whereabouts it is. But I will do it that way. First up, we will ink. No, we won't. See, I want to ink everything. We will glue with our glue stick the entire of this chipboard piece. So see how it's not affecting that stamped image at all. That's because it's a permanent, quick drying ink, and the wetness of the glue won't affect it. It's just one of the pitfalls that we tend to run into is picking the right ink for the right project that we're doing. All right. Now, some of this, I noticed, has got some little grey bits. That's the bit that I want. That one. And I want my rose kind of in that top corner. About there. Give that a little bit of a push. Turn that over. And just with my spreader again, I'm going to very lightly just go down over my, for something like this, your glue stick is fine for adhering your serviettes to it. And I find it's quicker and easier just for a small project like this. If you're doing a larger project or whatever else, look at your Mod Podge or your watered down Mod Podge and things like that. But for something quick and easy like this, these will be ample. Now, my big scissors, what I want to do, turn that back over, is give it a seam allowance as such. So I'm just going to cut around this I normally don't cut my serviettes, I tear my images, but because I want more or less a seam allowance like in fabric to fold over, I'm just going to cut around. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight, just somewhere along the edge. Set that one aside and we'll do our other one. Now my back, I'm thinking that might be nice, mightn't it? So set that side, sit down this one again. You're going to fit, yes. And we'll once again do our glue stick all over this piece. Ugh. Give it a good coating. Right. Get rid of that because it's very gunky now. And move my serviette back. Laying it down. And I want all that beautiful lavender. I want to make sure I've got enough of a seam allowance down the bottom here. And once again, we'll use our spreader. Now, because it's blue glue, you'll see dobs of glue in there until they dry. Don't fret with that. And especially when my glue starts to get low, it tends to leave more of those globs. You'll notice I'm just going around my edges. It just means that for me, I get that security that it is stuck all the way around, even though I don't have glue on my edges. Right, turning that over, trimming around this one again. I love the feel of working with serviettes. There's so many uses for them. And they're just one of the things that I pull out so many times. I'm sure you've all seen me work with this one before anyway. Right. So now we've got this and we've got this. This is our front. This is our back. What we're going to do is we're going to fold these over. Okay. Now I'm going to fold that one over first because there's not a great deal on that one. So once again, with our glue stick, folding that over. And over to this side. It's the wind at my door again. We've had a beautiful day yesterday, beautiful day all week, or beautiful days all week, and today has cut up horrifically. Right. So those two are done. Now what I want to do is just give them a little bit. So I'm just going to put some glue down in those corners. And then I'm going to lift that up. It's like wrapping a present, I suppose. You're going to sit like that. You'll sit like so. Now I can put my glue along here. And up and over. Doesn't matter that I haven't gone all the way because my copy paper is going to adhere onto that anyway. So when you have a look on the inside, you've just got that little edge going all the way through. So a little bit down here as well. Fold those ones over. Just makes it nice and neat. And yes, I know, we're only going to see 1/8 of an inch, but in my mind, I've made it neat. All right. Lifting over, pulling it down. Right, there's our front. So yes, I thought with this one I'd see it more. So you can see the flourish behind here. It just gives that chipboard just a little bit extra. When I pulled out my chipboard to do it, I thought, maybe I need to cover my chipboard first. And I did debate about that. And then I thought, oh, that defeats the purpose really of having a really thin front and back on this. So we'll pull out the stamps, because let's face it, I'm always pulling out the stamps. And I'm really pleased that I did now, and especially with this one, more so than the purple one, because the purple one was quite a heavy serviette. You couldn't, and it was only a 2-ply, not the 3-ply that this one is, which means that this one's thinner, gauzier, lighter, and a lighter colour background, and you can really see that beautifully. Right, so that one. Making these a little bit neater. Right, across there. Oh, yucko, Kylie. Down there. Just let me grab some paper towel and wipe that bit away without rubbing it too much, because I don't want to break or tear the serviette. Right, last ones. I really think I'm going too close and my head's in there, so I just apologise in advance if all you've got through most of this is top shot of my hair. Please don't count the greys. Right. Alright, so that one is our back. I can put my glue stick away, because the rest of it I'll be doing with other glues. That one's my front, that one's my back. With any luck, they are the same size. Now, with our little bit, this one's going to go on here. This one's going to go on there like so. So what I tend to do is, again, I'm not using my wet glue, and I want something a little bit stronger than my blue glue, because I'm opening it and closing it. So I will go back to my double-sided tape. And what I'll do is just run around my edges. And when we actually adhere this on, we want the single non-folded side, which is this little piece here, at our bottom right corner. So one in there. One in there. And I'll just for the sake of good measure, I'll put one in the centre. So I tend to work with lots of different adhesive substances. So I will use my glue stick, I will use my wet white glue, I will use a fabric glue, and I still go back to my double-sided tape, which was where it all started with my card making. So it's just, it just depends on the project that I'm doing. Right, so once again, making sure I've got this corner in this side. This one's going to go on here. So what I want to do, this is this corner, I'm going to turn it over so that I can put it down, holding it all together and trying, can you see that? So I can bring that down a little bit so I can see it. Let's have a look. Where are we? Oh, there we go. Look at that. I can see that. So now I can see over it, and I'm hoping that that's straight. Giving it a push. Yep, look at that. So this side is our little foldy corner, making sure that that's up, and that's going to go there. So now we're going to double-sided tape this side down here. And our little 3 pieces along here, just to make sure that it is not going anywhere. The last thing you want if you're doing a journal for sale, or if you're gifting it to somebody, is for them to open a little journaling spot for it just to pull apart in their hands. So if in doubt, over adhesive, okay? Truly, for 99.99999% of the time, you can't over adhesive when you're doing something like this. If you're doing, if you're still a scrapbooker, it's not going anywhere. Your project's behind a plastic pocket, so it's not going anywhere. You don't need to over adhesive for that. But for any other project, whether it's journaling or card making, do put extra adhesive on. Right, so we're going that way. It should have our bit down here. Yes, it does, which is going on here. And this one I tend to put on top because I want it to match up with my other square. Now, you don't have the wiggle room with double-sided tape that you do with other adhesives, with all your glues. Glues are great because it does give you that option to move things around as you're going. All right, you ready? Look at that. How easy was that? So here's our little book. We'll just very quickly do something on it. I've already grabbed some leaves. Now, because this serviette was a rose, I went into some scrapbooking papers that I had and found a floral one and cut out some rose leaves. So here's some rose leaves. So they're a bit brighter so that they stand out. And this time, this was just a little piece of lace that I had sitting on my desk from something. Well, I found some pink, and now that I look at it, it's the wrong colour pink. Grabbed that out a while ago. So let's go back to, I don't have any green. It was the only pink I had. Let's see if we can find a little bit of white. You're too wide. All right. We'll just grab that little piece of white. It was such a good idea. I went, oh, I've got pink lace. I never have pink lace. I'm not a pink person normally. So I just want a little piece of a scrap. I'm going to stick that in there like that. Normally they're all my bits that sit on the desk, but most of it's all been cleaned up at the moment. I'm very proud of myself. All right. Apart from that pile, but they're the wrong colour. Right, so now we'll go with our normal glue. And we'll adhere these guys. So you can see they're off some scrapbooking paper. That ain't me. So I would have got this paper just for the floral on the other side. And yes, I like fussy cutting. All right. Oh, can't lift it up, can't lift it up, can't lift it up. There we go. I don't really want to lose too much of my rose, so I'm going to go up there. A little bit of fabric glue just to put down my lace. And my lace is going to sit down here, mainly to cover up that bit there. And it's just going to go straight down there. So I know where it's going, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down on here, if it'll come out. I had left it open and forgot. There it is. And so it's still having a hard time coming to terms with the fact that it needs to be used again. Right. See, glue allows you to move them as you go. Right. That's that one down. I have already pre-stamped both of these. This is a Tim Holtz label stamp, I think from his Field Notes stamp set. And I've stamped them in the green to pick up the green. And this one was a label stamp think it's an old Kaiser one. And then my numbers, of course, are one of my favourite numbers, the Witchcraft Do You Do numbers. So just to make it nice and quick, this one's going to sit in here like that. I'm going to sit this one down like that. How easy is that? Right, so a little bit of glue on this one. Into there. Like so. And a little bit of glue on this one, and it's done. I don't mean a little bit of glue, but I just want to grab my tweezers for this one. Sit that like so. Put that on a bit of an angle. Right, how quick and easy are they? For just such a different thing in your journals that will give you so much journaling space. Look at that. How much more journaling space could you ask for? Just a basic explosion fold. So here's 2 of them. A little bit of serviettes that you've got floating around, a few other bits and bobs that are usually sitting on our tables, and either some cereal boxes or some chipboard. But you, again, don't go too thick with them. And they're nice and thin. They will sit in a standard pocket in your journal without bulking your journal up too much. How's that? I hope you've enjoyed these. I hope you've rethought some of your journaling cards and rethought some of the things that you used to do in projects of old. That's probably what it's all about, looking at what we used to do and how we can now incorporate those into our journals. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for following along with me. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please, I would love you to come and join us. And until next time, bye.